there, and a happy Thursday. Thank you so much for being with us today. I'm meteorologist Ashley Ruiz, and this is Weather Out West, where we're going to showcase what's happening weather-wise across the western United States. You're going to find coverage from the Pacific Northwest to the Mountain West and to California and Arizona in the Southwest. First, we're going to send things over to Phoenix, where they have a weather impact alert until this evening due to some potential record high temperatures.
I'm meteorologist Ginger Jeffries. We'll look at your weather out west. And oh boy, was it a hot one yesterday. I warned you it was going to be record worthy, and we did it. Got up to 118 degrees, smashing our old record. I mean, typically when we break a record or we meet a record, it's usually by a degree. But to break a record by 2 just lets you know the kind of excessive heat that we had to endure yesterday. Now, obviously, this is a record information. Did you know our normal number this time of the year, right about 107? So definitely we are elevated, but that 118 doesn't even make it into the top 10. Nope. In fact, the hottest day we've ever seen was 122 degrees in June 26 of 1990. And then we've got 121s, 120, and 6 times that we hit 119 degrees. So I know I'm not trying to lessen the blow. I just kind of want to let you know where yesterday stacked up as far as the main heat. Now, we still have an extreme heat warning for the areas you see here in purple. So our heat wave extends. However, the worst of it was yesterday. And now, even though our numbers are going to stay elevated, we're starting to see a little movement out in the atmosphere. And anytime I talk about winds, I'm talking about winds of change. So no, it's not a dramatic cool down, but it's going to kind of temper, let's say, our temperatures. Look at this. Yuma today going for 110 degrees under windy conditions. We've got 117 from Lake Havasu into Parker, right about 90 in Flagstaff. So that is going to be another toasty day. We did snap some records in higher elevations yesterday, but I don't think that's going to happen again today, just because we're getting some movement in the atmosphere. And while this isn't a cold wind, anytime we're moving things around, we're shaking things up, we're also going to help bring down that heating complex. So Phoenix from 118 yesterday to about 114 degrees today. Now in the high country, here's the forecast for today, and here's the record. So yes, we're still well above the normal range. I mean, Payson, a pair of 9s, 104 in Sedona, but look at the records, 106 and 110 respectively. So again, not looking for record heat today, but still it is going to be hot. Around the valley, we've got 113 in Glendale, 102 in Sun Lakes, 111 in Mesa, 108 in Fountain Hills, and right about 111 in Scottsdale. So we're elevated, but the record, it's within reach. If we're going for 114 today in Phoenix and the record 115, well, again, it's in reach. I'm hoping we're going to keep it underneath that, and still we continue to be well above our normal range during the day, and even overnight. Our evening conditions should be in the mid 80s, but instead we're in the low 90s, all courtesy of high pressure that now is starting to push off the coastline. That's why we're getting those winds. You see these arrows right here? Those are wind vectors, and anytime you see them starting to converge or tighten up, that indicates the presence of different measurements of pressure in the atmosphere, which is the natural result of seeing some wind. So winds today starting to mellow out as far as our temperatures for the weekend, but I'm also watching for the monsoon. Today, not a big day at all, and everything is really going to be pushed down into the southeast. And the only threat is the fact that we've had such monster monsoon moisture in the New Mexico area. It's basically clipping the southeastern portion of the state. So Sierra Vista may be seeing some pop-up showers, but I think what's more interesting as far as monsoons go is as we look ahead. Look at this 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. Not only are our temperatures coming down, but the monsoons are starting to beef up. So these two things are working hand in hand. Very optimistic for what's coming our way next week, not just by temperature, but also for moisture. Look at this. Early part of the work week, we've got a 30% chance of some moisture in the higher elevations, 50% by about Wednesday. And what that will translate to the valley is much cooler temperatures from 114 today down to 103 next week.
103 sounds like a nice little autumn chill. Thank you so much, Ginger. Also, some of that monsoon moisture should help with some of the drought situations, which I'll talk about a little later in Weather Out West. Next, let's go to Boise because after some thunderstorms brought some pretty significant wind damage to the area, they're turning breezy and cooler before the heat cranks back up by the weekend.
Hello, my name is Hector Mendoza here forecasting out here in Boise, Idaho. And we had some storms that came along yesterday that brought along with it some very strong winds. Here's some of the wind gusts that we saw from yesterday. And also looking at what the winds were like in certain portions here. Brandy Garcia posted this and sent this to us on our Idaho Weather Watchers Facebook page. And that saw some impaired visibility. And also we had some damage along with some of those winds. So here we're going to take a look at some of the photos that we got sent to us throughout the day yesterday. This is from a gazebo that we saw with the top of it really blown off, everything inside, tables, chairs just thrown around everywhere due to some of the winds that got up to almost 50, even 60 miles per hour in some spots. And just rolling through, this is out in Notice. We saw a carport that got broken in half and taken off of its base. And then we also had some trees downed in certain spots. And that's exactly what we saw in certain areas there along there in Nampa and other spots in Kenyon County. So I did want to take just kind of a closer look there, just uprooted in some of those spots. But now we're going to start to take a look at some of the temperatures and some of the conditions that we're going to be seeing at least for the rest of the day today, as we're anticipating some cooler temperatures compared to what we saw yesterday, as some spots got into the upper 90s and even into the triple digits here in the Treasure Valley, along with some of those winds. And we're going to trend much cooler for today, as through the morning we saw temperatures down into the low 60s. Yesterday we were into the upper 70s, or to the low 70s, that is, yesterday into the morning hours. But as we're talking about some of the temperatures, we're going to stay pretty steady through the rest of this afternoon. We're going to stay pretty seasonable into the low 90s here in portions of the Treasure Valley, and then we're going to run through this future cast here and look at our upper level pattern, where as we get through Saturday and Sunday, we're going to see a ridge of high pressure rebuild over our region, and that's going to bring us those temperatures back to near triple digit territory as we're looking ahead into Saturday and Sunday. And then those temperatures stay pretty steady as we get towards the middle of next week. And so looking at the next 5 days, we're seeing those temperatures from the low 90s into the mid 90s there for Saturday, and then as we get up, we get to about 98 degrees, expecting to get pretty close to that century mark there for Sunday, and that extends all the way in through Wednesday. But as we take a look at some of the conditions that we're expecting to see, temperatures will start to rise up. We'll see lots of sunshine, temperatures back into the 90s out in portions of the mountains. 7-day forecast here for Twin Falls. We're going to see lots of sunshine, some windier conditions for today, which is going to stick around. Then we're going to see those sort of winds start to lighten up just a bit, and we'll see breezier conditions settle along for Friday. Temperatures will slowly start to rise up into the upper 80s, get closer to seasonable there to wrap up the work week. And then as we get on into the weekend, again, that sunshine will stick around. Morning temperatures will also start to warm up, getting closer into the mid 60s in portions of the Magic Valley. And then we're going to see those temperatures stay pretty steady and stay into the low 90s. And again, this is going to be a trend that we're going to see not just in the mountains and in the Magic Valley, but also in the Treasure Valley, as temperatures look to stay pretty steady with lots of sunshine coming along. So drier conditions and warmer temperatures is going to be the trend that we're going to see heading in to the weekend and extending on into the rest of the week. And again, looking at our 7-day forecast here, slightly warmer temperatures for today compared to the Magic Valley, seeing temperatures into the low 90s. Some spots here in the Treasure Valley could hit the mid 90s for today. We'll see those breezier conditions continue there into Friday. And then as we start to look at some of the temperatures there for the weekend, near triple digits, again, just giving you an overview of what we can expect as we head on into the weekend. So if you're planning on heading out, making sure to have the sunscreen, staying hydrated, and finding lots of shade and air conditioned areas, as we will have blazing heat, lots of sunshine, and that is going to stay pretty light and stay pretty dry through the next couple of days and into the middle of next week.
Thanks so much, Hector. Coming up next, we're going to take you to California. The heat is already there, San Diego and Sacramento. We'll see you in a few minutes. Hey there, friends. Welcome back to Weather Out West. I'm meteorologist Ashley Ruiz. Next, we're going to take you to California, San Diego, where high heat is prompting a heat advisory until this evening for some spots.
And And happy Thursday. I'm CBS 8 meteorologist Vanessa Paz joining you from San Diego, California. This is what it looked like early Thursday along the coastal areas. A picture from our Del Mar Sky Cam. And you can actually see that there's some sort of camp that was underway involving maybe perhaps some junior lifeguards, which is great. We could always use some lifeguards added to the roster. As we take a look at your headlines, the heat was on repeat for the past couple of days. In fact, some areas around San Diego County, not in San Diego in particular, but around San Diego County, broke records. That's how hot it got. As we take a look ahead, as we inch towards the end of the week into the weekend, here's what you can expect. Temperatures will simmer down, inching back to normal. Meanwhile, as we take a look at those overnight, that overnight pattern, the marine layer will spill back into the valleys more and more, especially the closer that we get to Saturday and Sunday, which always, as we enjoy, acts as our natural air conditioner. All right, it will be near seasonal, subtle daily changes starting tomorrow for both the coast and inland valleys. As we take a look at our watches, warnings, and advisories, there were a slew of them spanning across those Southern California counties. Unfortunately, it ends tonight at 8 o'clock. So that heat advisory is still impacting these areas highlighted in the orange color. You can expect, especially those neighborhoods that we call Ramona, Escondido, as well as El Cajon, to inch in the low to mid 90s. Meanwhile, for the desert areas, they are still under that extreme heat warning until 8 o'clock later on tonight as well. Daytime highs could get anywhere between 110 to 115. Now, these aren't put into place for no reason. Again, it's just a reminder for residents, visitors, anyone to just be mindful of those outdoor activities, making sure that they're staying hydrated, taking frequent breaks in the shade, especially if you work outside, and also checking on those elderly susceptible to heat-related illnesses and making sure that they have adequate cooling systems. But fortunately, again, it was a short-lived heat wave, and it does come to an end today with some changes looking ahead to tomorrow, especially for those areas away from the coast. All right, taking a look at those oceanside temperatures, this is hour by hour. We are going to drop down to the low 70s later on tonight. Overnight lows will stay on the mild side along the coastal areas, especially as that marine layer kind of trickles back in. Remember, it kind of blocks the heat from escaping back into the atmosphere, acting like a blanket for those overnight lows. So you can expect a mild night in store. For Ramona's temperatures later on tonight, we will still be close to 90 degrees by 6 o'clock this evening. Meanwhile, overnight lows sticking in the low 70s. So certainly a warm night in store, and overnight lows will eventually drop down to the mid to low 60s. Taking a look at our forecast radar here, again, clear conditions for most of Thursday, but notice how that marine layer sort of trickles back in. And as I mentioned, it stretches a little more into the valleys looking ahead to your Friday morning. And then it clears out Friday afternoon, making way for a really nice day. So overall, here are the highs that you can expect for your Friday. Will be in the mid to low 70s across the coastal areas, a little cooler at the immediate coast. And then as we stretch a little closer to the inland valleys near the foothill areas, it will still be a warm day, but temperatures are going to take a back seat in terms of that extreme heat. We'll drop back down to the mid to low 80s for areas like El Cajon as well as Valley Center, inching close to the low 90s for Ramona, and we'll be close to 90 degrees for areas like Julian near 110 in Borrego Springs. Big picture, that area of high pressure kept things really warm, and it also kept that really cold air just to our north, sticking in Canada and the Pacific Northwest. The winds are going to have an uptick looking ahead to this evening into tomorrow night. And taking a look at where we should be versus where we're going to be for tomorrow, temperatures are going to be anywhere between 1 to 2 degrees below average and a little warmer than normal still for the inland valleys. Quick look at your coastal 7-day forecast in San Diego. Meanwhile, here's what we can expect for the next 7 days inland.
Thanks so much, Vanessa. Next, we're going to take you to Sacramento, where unfortunately they're not going to feel a break from the heat. In fact, triple digits are making a comeback, and heat alerts are in effect starting tomorrow and through the weekend.
I'm meteorologist Monica Woods looking at our Northern California roundup of weather, and we are going to see some summer heat making a return. Less fog along the coast, highs in the valley in the 100s, plus we're going to be dealing with some haziness due to some smoke. In the foothills, we're near 100. For the Sierra, we're dry, warm though as well. Here's a look at some of those heat alerts going into place starting later this week through parts of the weekend, including the heat advisory through much of the northern and central part of the Sacramento Valley, as well as the coastal range. Farther up north towards the coast, we've got an extreme heat watch in effect, and that will be in place largely Friday through Saturday and Sunday as well. Heat-related illnesses increase when we see those heat advisories in place. Departure from normal for the valley. We're going to be about 5 to 10 degrees above what we usually see this time of year. That's in the lower 90s. We're still going to be above average heading into the weekend, but we do start to see some moderating temperatures at that point. Average number of days above 100. We usually get 16 so far. We've had 3. We're very likely to bring that number up to 5 by the time we get to our Friday afternoon outlook. Record number of 100-degree days is 35, and it's been kind of slow going to get things started with 100s throughout Northern California, but they are going to settle into place by Thursday. You can see widespread 100s. Some of the hottest parts in the valley will be in the extreme northern reaches of the Sacramento Valley. 100s towards the coastal valley communities, and then 70s along the coast. 80s up top for the Sierra, 90s through the foothills. We'll expand that just a little bit more in just a moment. First, I want to show you how those temperatures warm throughout the day. We start the morning off in the 60s. It's actually quite pleasant. That's the time of morning to really optimize some outdoor activities with our sunrise at 5:51. As the day goes on, we actually don't reach that peak heat until later on in the afternoon. A lot of folks think it's right about noon, but no, it's actually not until 4 to 6 o'clock this time of year. That's when we reach those afternoon highs with very light southwest winds. Because of that wind shift, we have several fires burning throughout the state. In fact, a couple of them in the northern part of the state. And with those northwest winds starting to develop, we'll pull in some of that smoke straight down through the valley. Hazy skies from what we say PM 2.5. So that's basically, when you boil it down to it, it's just smoke. But we also track ozone this time of year. And for our Thursday, we're looking at unhealthy for sensitive groups in Sacramento, Placer, and El Dorado counties. Elsewhere, we'll be in the moderate range. But again, really hazy air. See it, smell it for smoke, you know you're being affected. Moderate heat risk pretty much blanketing the entire region for Thursday and Friday, and just scaling back ever so slightly on Saturday and Sunday as we start to pick up a hint of an onshore flow. Now let's get to the details here on really our biggest push of summer heat coming in. Highs in the 100s through parts of the foothills. For the Tahoe Basin, we're in the 80s. As we pull our way through the central and southern part of the Sierra, highs will be in the 80s for Yosemite, as well as Sequoia and Kings Canyon National Park. Moving into the valley, for the San Joaquin Valley, highs will be in the 100s. Central coast communities quite warm. San Luis Obispo 81, Atascadero 97, 101 for Paso Robles. As we move northward, Soledad at 93, Hollister 89, 59 for the Monterey Bay Peninsula. That's certainly a place to escape the heat. 60s and 70s along the Bay Area coastline. As we move north, again, we've got some extreme heat watches and advisories in place along the northwest coast with 106 for Redding. I'll look at our Central Valley forecast for the capital region. Highs will be deep into the 100s, those overnight lows in the 60s. That's really anything that's going to save us here from that extreme heat. As you can see, over the weekend, those highs will be in the 90s, but in the meantime, 100s Thursday and Friday.
Thanks, Monica. Hopefully everyone stays cool, hydrated, and don't forget the SPF, as always. Coming up next, we hope you'll stay with us. We're going to take you to Washington State, where the heat is going to crank up after a nice little break from that excessive heat, and Seattle had a little bit of rain. We'll talk about it coming up. Welcome back to Weather Out West. I'm meteorologist Ashley Ruiz. Next, we're going to take you to Washington, where today, at least, they're seeing pretty cloudy conditions. Had some rain yesterday, keeping things below normal, but that's not going to be the case going forward into the weekend and beyond.
Hi, I'm King 5 meteorologist Rich Marriott, and boy, what a change yesterday after having pretty much a sunny and warm summer so far. Clouds rolled in. We did get a little bit of rain around the area. Most places just saw some sprinkles, but it was a big change. And a big change temperature-wise. We saw temperatures drop off 15 to 20 degrees over what they were on Tuesday. So that's a major change around here. Only hit 72 degrees there at the airport at SEA, and in the Bellingham area only got into the mid-60s yesterday. So a real drop-off. And today, not really going to be all that much different. Rainfall-wise, did not see much. We saw up to the north 3/10 of an inch there in Bellingham, 4/10 out there at Forks along the coast, and most places along the coast got at least measurable. Over most of the interior, you had sprinkles and actually didn't get measurable rainfall. And at least down towards Stevens and Snoqualmie passes where we have rain gauges, only saw a few hundredths of an inch. So not a big producer, but definitely a big change, that's for sure. Take a look at the pollen count from Northwest Asthma and Allergy. The cooler temperatures and the sprinkles probably did help out. They take their measurement in North Seattle, and trees were in the low range. Weeds were moderate, and grasses, they were unable to get a measurement yesterday. I have a feeling they must have got a sprinkle going, which if they have any precipitation at all, they can't really do a decent measurement. So that'll get updated probably today. Still some sprinkles around this morning, so maybe it'll be tomorrow before you find out how bad the grasses are, but probably your allergies will tell you that just by themselves. Checking the Doppler radar at mid-morning, you can see not much left there. We had a few sprinkles or a little bit of mist around this morning. What's left over, we have a little system moving through British Columbia, and that lifted the low-level moisture just enough to squeeze out a few drops, but that was about all we got out. And still a lot of clouds around at mid-morning, and we're going to start to see gradual clearing already getting underway down in the south. Sound is going to continue to work its way northward as we head towards later in the morning and through the afternoon hours, and still looking pretty gray there in Everett as well. But getting down around Tacoma, we've seen an occasional sun break showing up there, which is a hopeful thing. And out along the coast, still mostly cloudy out there, but even out at Westport, by later in the day, we should see some sun breaks, and we're about to shift back into our sunny and warm pattern again, just in time for the weekend. Our first alert 7-day forecast. You can see after kind of a cool day today, we are going to warm right back up again over the weekend, and you can call it comfortably warm temperatures, but we do overshoot a little bit as we head towards the middle part of next week. Taking a look at the fire weather forecast, though, for today, the good news with these cooler temperatures and with a little bit of precipitation we had, definitely helping firefighters, those fires that we have around western Washington. Basically looking, especially the ones over on the Kitsap Peninsula, we're looking at highs in the upper 50s to the upper 60s. Light winds around, so that's all helpful. And the daytime humidities only drop down to the 70 and 80% range, so all very helpful for fighting those fires, which hopefully they'll have some success with, because we're going to be moving into some warmer temperatures, and again, like I said, some hot temperatures as we head towards the middle part of the week. Satellite picture this morning shows a lot of low clouds around western Washington. See that little disturbance up there in BC, which is moving on out of here. High pressure is building in, and that is what's going to be giving us the warm temperatures over the weekend and the hot temperatures next week. You can see if we put the upper atmosphere into motion, that ridge starts to build into us as we head towards the weekend, which is going to clear us out and put us into those warm temperatures. And then as we head towards the end of the weekend, you can see it's really starting to build in there. We're going to be seeing that temperature push up into the upper 70s, or excuse me, upper 80s and 90s as we head towards Tuesday, and we could see some 90 to maybe mid-90 readings, it looks like, as we head towards the middle part of the week. Take a look at our forecast for today, though. Might still see a stray shower or sprinkle around this morning, then it should gradually clear to partly to mostly sunny this afternoon. High temperatures upper 60s and low to mid 70s. Then pretty much Friday through Monday, we're going to be looking for mostly sunny skies. Those high temperatures getting to the upper 70s and low to mid 80s. Tuesday we get into the 80s to maybe some 90s, and then Wednesday should be our hottest day with temperatures in the upper 80s to low to some mid 90s. Doesn't last though, that's the good news. We'll see those temperatures back into the upper 70s and low to mid 80s as we head towards the end of the week and the following weekend.
Temperature roller coaster ride indeed. Next, we're going to take you east of the Cascades into eastern Washington, where fire weather concerns are going down a little bit, but that means smoke and haze may even lower some air quality.
I'm Nicole Hernandez in Spokane, Washington. We've got a beautiful live look over Riverfront Park. You can see some bright blue skies and a little bit of cloud cover. The cloud cover potentially going to stick around for the day, but those bright blue skies might not. We have a chance for some smoke and haze to move into our area. Because of that, our air quality could change. It could diminish just a little bit. We are sunny and warm though today, and we continue staying sunny and even more warm through your weekend. going to be quite beautiful, actually. Today, we are cooler than we have been the past few days. We are going to be potentially 81 degrees in Spokane, 80 in Coeur d'Alene. We're really low 80s through most of our region. Out in central Washington, we see more solidly 80-degree temperatures. Either way, though, across the board, region-wide, we have lost quite a few degrees in temperature. Same thing with the morning. We were cooler this morning, and that's continuing into the afternoon as well. We're actually going back to closer to average temperatures. Instead of being above average for today's forecast, the 81 degrees we're going to see today in Spokane is just slightly below. It's still within the realm of average, so it's going to be a very normal summer day here in the inland northwest. While our temperatures are coming back down to normal, our winds are also decreasing as well. This morning, we're still seeing some remnant gusts upwards of 20 to 25 miles per hour, but they're slowly going to continue decreasing and diminishing over the course of the afternoon and into the evening. That's good news. Fire danger has been very high the past few days, and with cooler temperatures, a little bit less dry conditions, and less wind, we are seeing our fire dangers expire. We're no longer under the critical fire danger. But what we do have is those gusty conditions potentially bringing some fire smoke into our area. We have the Western Pines fire burning to the west of us. We also have the Elliott fire burning to the southwest of us. Spokane, Coeur d'Alene, right here on our map. The winds that we have coming in today, the breeziness that is basically left over from yesterday, has the potential to pull some of that smoke here into the Spokane, Coeur d'Alene area. Similar up north, we've got the Hope fire burning up near Northport. The smoke from that could move its way over into the Medellin and Ione area. So it's something to keep an eye on. It's not going to be all that crazy though. Right now, as of 9 o'clock this morning, it is good for our air quality. Our AQI is at 18. The forecast for our AQI, though, is moderate for today. So there's a chance that we drop down into that moderate zone. Moderate isn't very bad. It's just something to note. You might notice a haze, you might notice some smoke, but you won't have to change your plans for it at all. You can see right now, not much smoke moving through the area, but later at about 4 o'clock, we start to see that chance for some smoke moving in. It's that small band through the Spokane, Coeur d'Alene area, and by Friday, we start to see that clear out, especially Friday morning. We, of course, still have these fires burning, so we'll keep a close eye on where the AQI lands throughout the day. The other thing we have the chance for today is some scattered showers through North Idaho. You can see right here, a tiny one popping up here and there. They're really not all that big. They're light, they're small, they're very scattered, and they move through very quickly. So it's really barely something to note, but the reason I have it pulled up is because that same system is also bringing us some cloud cover through the region. You can see we'll have plenty of sun, but we might have a cloud or two in the sky here or there through your afternoon. Everything else, though, very calm, not just today, but through the rest of the week as well. Take a look at this. By tomorrow, we warm right back up. We are sunny, and then sunny, and then sunny, and more and more and more sunshine. Basically, the next week looks pretty calm, and it looks like it's going to stay that way, but we'll, of course, keep tracking that into your weekend.
Thank you so much, Nicole. Coming up next, we're going to show you Denver and Portland's forecast. Denver is going to have some more thunderstorms in their forecast. We'll have those details coming up next. Hey there, thanks for sticking with us. I'm meteorologist Ashley Ruiz. Next up on our Weather Out West tour, we're going to go to Denver because they had an active start to their Thursday with more storm chances this afternoon.
Hello from scorchingly hot Denver, Colorado, where with triple-digit highs this week, it's felt more like Phoenix, Arizona than Denver, Colorado, where it's typically cool and comfortable and beautiful. Well, it is beautiful. We've had some really cool clouds this week. They kind of look like little jellyfish in the sky, and some of them look like birds. The problem is these clouds are part of a phenomenon that we've been seeing all week, microburst thunderstorms, which have produced damaging wind and lightning and not the rain we need. And the temperatures have been on the upswing. We now have 17 days of 90 or better. In an average season, we see about 46, but we saw 100 degrees just yesterday. Not a lot of moisture coming into Colorado. All of the heavy thunderstorms from that moisture that's coming in is New Mexico, Central Texas, Chicago, and the eastern seaboard. Tomorrow and today, we'll be kind of tracking the potential for a couple of storms, mainly east of Denver and that level 1 risk. And the storms will be high base, meaning we're going to see some damaging wind potential potential and lightning potential instead of beneficial rain. Area in yellow east of Sterling, Akron, and Lyman, maybe the potential for a little bit of hail there today and tomorrow, but most of the severe weather will stay in Nebraska and Kansas. So we'll stay in that level 1 marginal risk for isolated severe storms with, again, damaging wind potential more than tornadoes. Big heat dome over Colorado, and that has been pushing the storm track to the north. But that storm track starting to break down, allowing for a little moisture to come in and a few more thunderstorms in the forecast than we saw yesterday. So again, wind and lightning, a bigger potential for us than rain. Temperatures are also going to be soaring into the 90s as we move through the afternoon and again tomorrow, but we do get some relief coming up. Not so much today, but heading into Friday, we'll look for temperatures in the mid-80s with a good chance of rain from thunderstorms, and then we head into the weekend and highs are right back into the 90s.
So it was 100 degrees yesterday. Thought that today would be a good day to let you know. I feel like it's my duty, my obligation as a meteorologist to tell you we are 100 days away from our average first measurable snow for us here in Denver. October the 18th, 100 days away from this July the 10th. And so for those of you who are hoping for some fall, hoping for some of those hoodies, or maybe beyond that, some of those snow pants and some of that colder weather, that crisper feel to the air, yeah, we're 100 days away from that average first measurable snow. And in fact, last few years, we've had more dates with snow before that date than after it. Now, if you're ready for fall, I'll give you a little taste of it. We're 53 days away from the start of meteorological fall. Us as meteorologists, we define the seasons by full months for equal climate keeping purposes. We're 53 days away from September the 1st. We are 55 days away from our earliest snow on record, which was on September the 3rd of 1961. 4.2 inches of snow fell that day. That's 55 days away. By the way, of course, September the 8th of 2020, second earliest snow, that is about 60 days away. And we are 74 days away from astronomical, traditional start of fall on September the 22nd. So if it's a little hot out there and you need to start thinking some cooler thoughts, there you go. You've got some winter, you've got some fall, not that far down the road.
53 days until I decorate for fall then, and for Halloween, of course. Thank you so much, Chris and Kathy. Next, we're going to head on up to Portland, the Pacific Northwest, where Rod Hill's going to talk about heating up heading into the weekend.
With the promise of comfortable weather here in Portland, I'm meteorologist Rod Hill, bringing you your Thursday forecast. And we'll get to today's weather in a moment, but our weather team is already sounding the alarm with the KGW Weather Impact Alert for hot weather coming next week. You know, a couple weeks ago, we had the national story of the heat wave in the Midwest, and then moved on to the East Coast. Well, next week, what this air mass tracking map shows you, the hot weather in red and the cooler weather in the blues and greens color, is that the hot weather settles over the west. And while this may not be an incredibly lengthy heat wave, we do believe there's a decent chance it will bring 100-degree heat, at least for one day. So here it is on the 18,000 feet, 18,000 feet, 500 millibar upper level map. This is Tuesday of next week, and you can see that where the high pressure center contours are right near to offshore, with the ridging and hot weather all the way up into British Columbia. And we believe for Portland, Tuesday and Wednesday of next week, at least 96, 97, and maybe we get up to 100 or 101. So we'll keep an eye on all of this. Clearly, that's hot enough for heat exhaustion, heat stroke, 96 to 101 degree temperatures. I mentioned shade, water, sunscreen. If you don't have AC and you're thinking, well, the fan wasn't that great last year, maybe beat the rush and get out and get yourself a fan and just start mainly planning your activities next week around that hot weather that we think is coming here in Oregon. All right, for today, it's great. We have no storm chance. We have no 90s. We have just typical west breezes in the Columbia River Gorge. So we have no advisories, alerts whatsoever, except for a dense fog advisory that expires at 11 o'clock on this Thursday morning at the Oregon coast. Here's our Lincoln City Chinook Winds Casino Resort camera, and it's been this way all morning, but partial clearing is expected this afternoon. This is a great shot. This is from our Timberline Lodge camera, 6,000 feet up on Mount Hood, looking south down the range. That's Mount Jefferson, And the clouds that we have here in the valley clearly extend up through 4, even 5,000 feet. And that's what you're looking at. A little bit of a breeze up there on this morning as well. Here's a look at down in the valley at the cloud cover we are starting with over our state capital, and a similar scene over Portland, looking at our convention centers, the spires, and there's where the Blazers play, the Moda Center. We'll see increasing sunshine again take hold, which is what Futurecast shows. Here's going into the afternoon, clearing skies generally. This shows some fog banks Friday morning near to the east side of downtown Portland. Otherwise, Friday goes on to be sunny, and it starts a warming pattern for us. Okay, for today, early clouds or morning clouds, a sunny afternoon coming, low to mid 80s in the Willamette Valley from Salem, Corvallis, and also down into the Eugene area, where, of course, the University of Oregon is. Southwest Washington forecast, Vancouver 79, Longview 77, similar pattern of morning cloudiness and a sunny afternoon coming. Here are the afternoon numbers. I mentioned no alerts for heat or fire dangers. That's just great news. Generally in the 80s, Pendleton, one of the warmer spots at 87, expected to hold in the 80s. 85 in the Dalles, west winds 15 to 25 miles per hour there. And then 60s at the coast and the developing sun up and down I-5, as I mentioned. Here's the 7-day. So yesterday, Portland had more sun than I thought we would, and we hit 80. Today, we'll kind of be right there. Very comfortable weather. Tomorrow, that changes as we start to heat up. We'll be 88 to nearing 90 Friday and Saturday, 92 on Sunday. It's a pretty good stretch of near 90-degree temperatures, 90 on Monday. And there's what I started off talking about, 98 degrees Tuesday of next week, and projecting the potential of 101 degrees on Wednesday, illuminated in red for our impact alert for the hot conditions expected.
Thanks so much, Rod. Coming up next, we are going to get a big picture of what's going on around the region, not just out in the west, but the east, where they're going to be battling some pretty heavy rain. Welcome back to Weather Out West. While the west battles the heat, the east coast is going to have to deal with some rain and potentially some pretty heavy rain as well. Jordan Frazier takes a look at the national forecast.
Hey everyone, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Frazier. We're jumping right into your weather watches and warnings, and there's a lot going on in the northwest. Let me break it down for you guys. All the orange that you see, those are going to be heat advisories. All of the kind of darker pink, that's going to be heat warnings, extreme heat warnings in particular, mainly because we're looking at some really hot temperatures across much of the northwest, more than they normally see, with some severe weather across much of the Dakotas, including all of central Nebraska. So temperatures, yikes, look at that. Colorado is in those 90s, all of Texas in the 90s, Phoenix in the 110 range, Boise, Idaho also in those 90s. Pretty warm even out toward the east coast, although not as bad as the heat wave from a few weeks back. So always got to look at the lighter side. I know it's summertime, but I can still complain about the heat or the summer, and I'm sure you guys do too. I love it. All right, hey, 60s and 70s across much of the eastern coast, all the way out toward Denver. All right, cooling down thanks to parts of those mountains. Boise, Spokane, all the way into those 50s and 60s. Phoenix, low temperature is 90. I know a lot of you guys don't even see that for the highs. But I am tracking a lot of showers and thunderstorms, mainly across the Carolinas throughout this afternoon, specifically for Charlotte along Interstate 95. You're going to see that slight chance for rain, showers, thunderstorms, severe risks, mainly going to be hail and wind with that small tornado potential as well. Then we move a little bit farther out toward the area where the Dakota's been seeing some action throughout much of yesterday. That's going to be for Friday night under that level 2 slight risk. You notice those systems themselves, all right, they go sub-severe by Saturday morning. That's good stuff. But then we zoom out. Look at how big this system is. It's a large-scale cold front. It's going to be bringing plenty of rain across much of the East Coast, kind of making impacts across the central U.S., heading down into northern Texas. So how much rainfall can we see from all of this? I know we've had a lot of flooding lately, so let's kind of talk about that. Mainly going to be Iowa, seeing large-scale impacts, 3 to maybe even 10 inches, potentially, just based on some of that model data, anywhere from about 1 to about 3, maybe 4 inches in much of the southeast. But let's break down some temperatures for you. Heading into this weekend, all right, maybe recovering from 4th of July last weekend. All right, here we go. Hey, look, we got a lot of those 80s across much of Seattle, 90s in Portland, triple digits potentially for Boise on Sunday. Okay, well, we kind of expect that in Phoenix, but even Sacramento staying in those lower triple digits into those upper 90s. San Diego, you don't have to worry about that stuff. Texas, all right, a lot of those 90s, a few of those 80s, mainly because they're going to be seeing a little bit more of that rain and thunderstorm potential with that incoming cold front. In the southeast, kind of sticking right around that summertime pattern, a mix of those 90s and 80s. So just make sure you're staying safe this weekend.
Thank you so much. Coming up next, I am going to touch base on the drought conditions because unfortunately the drought conditions have worsened for portions of our region, and today's the day where the drought monitor is updated. So Thursday mornings will bring you the latest. We'll see you in a few minutes. Thanks for sticking with us for weather out west. Unfortunately, I mentioned this before the break, drought conditions have worsened for portions of our region. Now, according to the U.S. Drought Monitor, it was released moisture and a very low 28-day average stream flows. And so that's why they have expanded the drought monitor to include more of the Pacific Northwest, the moderate, which is D1. So the scale goes from D0 to D4. So the moderate D1 to severe D2 drought across Oregon and Washington was expanded eastward. And the moderate drought, that's that tan color, whereas the severe drought, which includes Portland all the way up into the Cascades in central Washington and over the Cascades in general, that was also expanded eastward. Now the extreme drought, that's that red color, D3, was expanded to include more of northern Idaho. The abnormally dry category, which again, D0, was expanded across northern to central California just a little bit. The drought intensity remained nearly steady for portions of the Southwest, which is good news, but also not great news. Monsoonal showers led to a very small reduction in the extreme D3 category for eastern and southern Arizona. Now, you may be wondering, okay, well, how is the summer shaping up? This was released at the end of June, and we'll get updates as the summer progresses, likely going to get one at the end of this month, but this shows the seasonal drought outlook through September, so through the end of September. And that brown color you see, meaning drought conditions continue, whereas the yellow color means drought likely begins. And then that very light gray color that you see over portions of the desert Southwest, just east of Phoenix, so Arizona and New Mexico, means drought improves. Now, if you don't see any color and it's just that dark green, that means no drought expected. But you see, unfortunately, that abnormally dry category for the drought included portions of Northern California, but that still tells us maybe not going to be extremely dry. So we'll have to see. This doesn't mean it's not going to rain all summer long, but this just means maybe not some drought shattering rain. And then over the span of the next 3 to 4 weeks, this is from the Climate Prediction Center, and they're showing that the desert Southwest, including Southern California, you see that green color. Ginger actually mentioned this in her forecast out of Phoenix, above normal precipitation, at least for the next 3 to 4 weeks heading into August. Meanwhile, portions of the Great Plains you see could be below normal, and then the dark green just means equal. So we'll have to wait and see. To wrap up your forecast, whether you are watching us from any of our 8 regions or if you're catching us somewhere else or you're headed out to the East Coast, you see the 90s continue some stormy conditions, and this trend's going to continue. The Southeast typically does see daily pop-up thunderstorms, especially if you're going to maybe take a last-minute trip to, say, the Southeast or going to Orlando or anything of that nature. Here's a wrap-up of Seattle's forecast, 70s followed by 80s next week, even hotter in the 90s for our friends in Portland. You see heating up over the weekend. Don't forget, next week they are under weather impact days because of the heat. Spokane, 80s followed by 90s, and then Boise, likely going to see some upper 90s, maybe a couple of triple digits there, but Sacramento, triple digits today, tomorrow, before a cool down. San Diego, 80s followed by 70s, kind of back to that normal weather there. And then Phoenix, It's going to be a hot one, 114 today, maybe even hotter for some spots. And then let's take you to Denver. Isolated thunderstorms. Remember, they generally east of Denver, they have that level 1 severe weather risk, level 1 and level 2, with some scattered thunderstorms through the weekend before they heat things back up. We want to thank you again so much for joining us for Weather Out West. You can join us once again tomorrow. We'll see you then.